Welcome everybody, Empire Ballpark. Very familiar face on the mound at the moment. Paul Morgan's my name. Simon Ison's joining me, and that man there, Simon Ison's former Detroit Tiger. Played obviously over in Korea as well, and just threw a 92-mile-an-hour throw down Warwick softball. Nice to see him throw a bullpen.
Yeah, look, it's good to see him on the mound. Obviously, he's getting ready for the ABL season that is at the present continuing. But let's just take a pause a little moment here. You have a big leaguer from WA throwing to young kids in a showcase that is just going to be the great start of their career. But not many kids are going to say they've faced a big leaguer like Warwick in this environment before.
So Warwick softball will fly out tomorrow to join the Perth Heat over in Adelaide for the Adelaide Hub. So he will, I'm not sure what days, I would assume he probably, he probably gets maybe a start on Friday or Saturday.
I would think more likely a start on Saturday.
So of course the Heat, I think they've double dipped that game, so they'll have to tune in. But yeah, I mean Warwick's obviously this is something pretty, as you say, Simon, pretty special for the kiddos. I would have thought, for the young guys.
Oh look, absolutely. Some of these guys would have never faced anybody throwing 90 miles an hour in the first place, but 90 miles an hour with efficiency. Look, he's going through the process, and you can see there's a momentum. This is a bullpen for him. Is essentially he knows, and mentally he knows what's going on. You know, there'd be a little bit in the back of his head. I don't want to give up a hit to these kids, but some of these kids will be relishing the opportunity.
Absolutely, they would be. But, here goes Wazza again. It's a 90 mile an hour. It's to Jackson Limpus is in the box now. Caught me by surprise. We're still writing the lineup card, but
I think we all were.
Here comes Waz again.
I mean, it's good to see Warwick getting his, you see the momentum there. He's working the mechanics through there. He knows what he has to do with all the experience he's got behind there. But this is more of a clinic for those that are watching. This is a clinic on how to perform in a bullpen, because you still pitch with intent. And this is a lighter bullpen. He's just sort of not necessarily worrying about where the fielders are or positions in there. He's just sitting in a process of get through the momentum, get himself ready for the game, face some live hitters, because as we've seen in the previous games, you can do all the training, you can do all the preparation, you can do all the flat ground work, you can do all the bullpens, you can always throw to your partners. The moment you step on the mound, there is such a significant difference in the mental process that you have to find, that you have to locate within inside yourself. You have to be able to zero focus to a point. As we see, he's painted that black away. The biggest, there's not often that you can say a movie replicates how someone feels, but for the love of the game, Kevin Costner, Clear the Mechanism.
Yep.
That point when he blanks out the crowd in order to see only the catcher's mitt, only what he sees in front of him, to silence the environment, control your breathing, control your temperament, and still have the energy and channeling the energy inside your body. It is an art, and it's not easily captured or found, and it's difficult to teach.
Huge for the Heat as well, though. Just quickly, Simon, huge for the Heat to get something like this in your rotation when you've already got Dylan Unsworth, and then you put this guy in as well as your 1-2 punch. It's without a doubt the best 1-2 punch in all the ABL. Yeah,
look, it's a definite punch, in the lineups. But what he brings so much more to the club.
Yep.
This is for one of a, and you'll probably hate me for calling him. This is the father, along with Tim Kennelly, of every one of these guys that are out there.
Yep.
He may not consider himself the dad, but he's definitely the leader. He's a clubhouse leader, and he's been through enough experience in his time to be able to channel that out of a lot of the younger players there. The young Will Sheriff, who's over there with them, is a great example of how to handle and cope yourself.
Talking about as his brother was pitching, Maddox Stivey, of course, will be over there for the Heat and hopefully get his run in Adelaide. Ball throws again, so be nice to call his name again in a couple of weeks, a week or so, when the Heat come back to Perth for the first time in 2020. So this is TK. 1 mile an hour. So he's probably got maybe, suggests this is the last batter that will face.
So this is a great example of what the Rays showcases and enabled these young guys to do is this opportunity to face better pitch. It'd be interesting if club balls can come in and sort of get their work in as well to face some of these good guys. But ultimately, this is the experience and what's needed for young baseballers to take a next step. I mean, it's great to go away into a tournament. It's great to have an opportunity to represent your state, but the idea is to get better for these guys.
Great shot of the mechanics there. The pitcher-in-pitcher shot as Dylan Boyarsky, of course, Ulrich, his brother in heat colours. Apparently the other day, Dylan was for a triple off the wall, but
see an off-speed pitch of some description coming. No, he's painted it. He's gone to the curveball there and he's shifted. He's put the he probably goes to the curveball grip or whatever he's in his hand and he moves it around a bit. But there was a bit of wrist movement there. But that's 3 strikeouts there. Yep. He's painted away on the black, so he's obviously working on that pitch at the moment. 91.
This is Daniel Carter.
And DC. TK, DC, they've got them all. Daniel's was one of the under-18s from last year's championship series. So you're going up and in with a fastball, curveball as a good secondary pitch, establishing that. It'll be interesting to see what he goes with here. I'd like to see something in the dirt or even the fastball away, but it's definitely away.
90 miles an hour, just punches, and that'll do was.
Yeah. It's a good setup.
Yeah, it was. Will now jet off to Adelaide in the morning to take on the Adelaide Giants and the Brisbane Bandits in the hub.
Well, this is going to be that's going to be interesting. I mean, there's a lot that's been said for this hub environment, and guess what? We just have to be flexible.
Yep.
There are so many comments and so much angst and negativity to them not being able to play the game. This was always going to happen in some format.
It was, and I'm not sure if the final turns and twists and turns have happened and or not yet, but anyway, this will be a bit of fun tonight. Of course, the last game, the under-16s, there was some control issues from the pitchers, and hopefully for this 18s we'll fire up with a few pretty interesting things happening. So the Durham Bulls and the Montgomery Biscuits, I had a few comments in the last game as well that it is not the actual Durham Bulls and Montgomery Biscuits, but this is the Tampa Bay Rays showcase. So this is traditionally under 18s. The squad would be for WA, but the national championship's not happening. So the Heat, who have partnered with the Tampa Bay Rays, have decided to have some action. And my name's Paul Morgan. As you see on the screen, the expert commentator is Simon Ison. So
someone's really stretching the friendships with that comment. But anyway,
the expert Simon Ison. So he is. We call him the Professor. So Dan Vaughan and myself.
Alas, the mad professor in most cases. But anyway, we'll take it.
Indeed. So on the hill for the Montgomery Biscuits. I do love saying those names. Jay Reynolds. You coached Jay before?
Yes, yeah. Jay's a young Wanneroo boy. Incredibly, not incredibly tall. A young, very strong guy who gave us in last year's under-18 team, gave us an outstanding performance, and probably something that I hadn't seen as I was, in the coaching role. I hadn't seen too much of him, but he gave this intensity that he seems to take to the mound. He doesn't seem to put it in the batter's box and the outfield and everything else, but he's got this intensity about him pitching and this ferocity about him. He's very loose, a very, very tall young man, bordering on 6'5". But the thing that I enjoy as a pitcher, he has a tank. This kid can run and run all day. I think this comes from a fair bit of parentage with his father, but he knows how to run and he knows the environment, when to run and when to exceed. Like, he'll lap people continuously when he's running. So this kid is a physical specimen as an athlete in terms of his ability to channel what he has and get the best out of it.
So leading things off for the Durham Bulls is Braden Horsley. It'll be Braden Horsley, Cameron Landy, and Ludin Tamara. That'll be the first three up for the Durham Bulls. And Montgomery Biscuits, you have Jay Reynolds, Hayden Brown out in right field, Jackson Limpus centre field, Daniel Carter your left fielder. The first pitch of the game is high and missing. Dylan Bajowski with the third baseman, Samuel Shepherd, the shortstop. Teo Kurosawa, or a.k.a. TK, second baseman, number 44. Isaac Meldrum over there in first base. Jay Reynolds on the bump with Josh Davies behind the dish. So this would be for Jay Reynolds, Simon. This would be, you just watch Warwick Sawpole pitch. It's probably, I'm not sure if it is, but you're under. You got a few people wandering in. You got the lights on. It's.
Well, Jay was with us in the under-18s, as we said last year. So he's played in front of some crowds before. But this would be probably the most intense stage, a scrutiny stage. And we've discovered that from the last game that we've seen with the 16s, that a few of those guys may have been overawed by the situation. This, for the 18s, should be, enough of a buzz in their body to be able to get a taste for what's going on. So I don't see it overpowering Jay. I just hope to see a consistency in his strike zones. As you see up there, he's missing a little bit. So it's a touch and feel first innings for him. We'll probably get about 2 or 3 innings from him and hopefully see what comes out of it.
Max Scherzer's his favourite MLB player as he misses high. Lead-off walk for Braden Horsley, and bring up Cameron Landy for the Bulls. Landy, Ludin Tamara behind him. Lead-off walks. We had a lot of. I lost the count of the walks in the last game, but
26 if you really must know.
There are a lot.
Yeah, look,
I think it was a 6-6 ball game on 6 hits.
Look, it was, for what you saw, it was just a situation where a lot of kids have the situations gotten on. This is my opinion. It's gotten on top of them a little bit more. So we'd probably see a little bit more here. Certainly not a great start by Jay for a lead-off walk. You don't want to see that in anybody's games. And as the under-18s coach Adam Korchu would say, there are a few things in baseball that he gets up his goat is pitchers giving up in the situations and walks, and hitters just giving up their at-bats by giving 2 strikes away.
Yep.
So this is what goes through the coaches' heads, and they're translating to these players. These are the things that they need to focus on in this competition and to show that they can grow.
Landy takes a swing. He's going to land in front of Jackson Limpus, get himself a base hit. Hit out to centre.
Over the last 12 months, Cameron Landy has literally, as you can see, waits for that ball and just punches it out to centre field. It was a bit of a hanging curveball from Jay in the sense he also didn't quite complete the pitch. But Cameron Landy has, in my eyes, elevated his game. He was a kid who was okay in schoolboys, and all of a sudden he's come back 12 months later with an exceptionally strong arm from shortstop and a work ethic that has been incredible, and it's been showing off in this competition as well.
Ludin Tamara, his first offering.
See a tag up.
Limpus makes the catch in centre field. Runners stay where they are. Riley Walsh up now for the Durham Bulls. Walsh out of South Perth. You have these. He's a Tatis Jr. fan, and so.
Oh, isn't there? There's this amazing pattern of what these guys, these players follow from the MLB. As we see a ball just in there again, Jay looks like he's not quite completing the pitches. In the sense that he's, the conviction towards the pitches you have to throw. Sometimes you've got to throw and let the ball do the work rather than try and get your arm speed to guide it. But a lot of these guys are literally the Tatis and the Kuna Juniors Some of the crafty ones go for the pitches that they know in Scherzer.
Yep.
Not too many Houston Astros fans out there. Let me put it that way.
There are a couple.
There are a couple.
The funny, well, we're looking at the. No, I wonder next year whether the Chicago White Sox might feature.
Yeah, well, there's quite a few Liam Hendricks, and I guess there's 75 million reasons why he's sitting around there at the moment.
You're pretty happy with life.
Yeah. But for something that these kids have got to understand is in this exact situation was Liam Hendricks.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. We were talking about that earlier when he was pitching in the last game, but it was a Wanneroo product as well. And you just think back, if you go back years and years ago, that was Liam Hendricks and put in the work and continue to work. And, you know, he had his fair share of bumps along the way, but now the bases are loaded. So another walk as Riley Walsh walks, bringing up Jacob Santich. A little bit of trouble early for Jay Reynolds.
It's a smart process to go out and have a quick chat to the pitcher, but ultimately, Jay, this is another thing that is not, it's hard to teach someone, but I like to see kids make adjustments along the way to understand what they have to do if the ball's up, how are you finishing your pitches.
Yep.
You want this showcase and this game opportunity to, you know, you're not playing for points, you're playing to be looked at, and you've got to show people you have the ability to make adjustment pitch after pitch if necessary.
This is Jacob Santich, the catcher. Bases loaded, just the one out. So Santich and Daniel Choi waits behind him.
So this is Wanneroo versus Wanneroo. Sitting around 84 miles an hour for Jay, but he's still up in the zone. The game that he threw when he was away, it was a different type of ball game. It was a much needed win, but he went so deep into the game and he pounded the strike zone. So you know it's in there as we see a pass ball in the dirt, cut the fastball off, run across the plate. Jackson Limpus.
First run scores. Look at that. So that's how the first run scored in the last game as well.
Yeah. If you're setting up for that pitch away, you've got to expect the opportunity for the catcher to make the adjustment as well. So what I'm looking for here as a commentator and as a spectator is I want to see these kids, as the game goes on, make the adjustments to the situation scored. Yeah, so this is definitely about time for a talk with Aaron Ottaway coming out.
This is his third walk. So Daniel Choi waiting for him. So what would this conversation be, Simon?
This is about the way that we started the game. Breathe, settle down, go back to what you know. You know, you don't need to overthrow every pitch. You know, there's a little bit of adrenaline going in there. He's let you say your team is behind you at the moment. You're taking them out of the game. By walking hitters, keeping them going long counts, the heavier the feet that these guys go.
Yep.
You know, there's a good little bit of fun in there. And it's, you know, Aaron is an experience. He's a good campaigner, but he's trying to make him feel at ease as well to get back. So, you know, these kids know each other. They know their nuances, and they'll certainly be playing upon that as well.
It's a 7-inning game tonight out here in Empire Ballpark, Perth, Western Australia.
We during the situation before the series, a series of questions were asked of the players, and Paul and I'll be drawing upon them. But Daniel Choi's, what is some of your favourite hoodies outside of baseball? He's got eating noodles. His favourite movie is noodles. His favourite food is noodles. His I'm not even questioning. His favourite other food is top ramen.
Yeah. So, Maggi noodle or something.
Maggi noodles. I'm a little bit that we love it. Favourite TV series, Happy Noodle.
Happy Noodle.
Yes.
Haven't seen that one.
Yeah. No, it's clearly a winner on Netflix.
Yeah.
What he's waiting for is there a player to be called Noodle. This is a man whose smile will light up a ballpark a million mile away. His work ethic is strong. He's worked hard in the off-season again. He's put up some good numbers. But he's got a little X factor about him that you want on your team. And it's the way it's on the field and on the bench that he shines and sort of brings his presence to the club.
So Walk scores.
You see Riley Franklin down in the bullpen warming up for
the Montgomery Biscuits.
For the biscuits, yes. Well, that's appropriate for Riley. Riley likes his biscuits, so he's warming up for them.
Well, good old biscuits. It's going to get look a bit cleaner now. Jay Reynolds is first offering 83 mile an hour. So typically, like at this age, like I mean, where would you want? We know that the game professionally is going throw hard, throw hard, throw hard. I mean, where would you want your fastball to be sitting at this age?
Look, depends on what you're aspiring to. I want to see, and this is a coach of this team in the previous, I would love to see these guys sitting 84 plus.
Yep.
The ability to consistently sit for 3 innings in a space of 83, 84, 85, and be able to hit spots. There's the critical part. It's great to rear back and throw ball hard, but I want them to be able to hit a spot as required, have control of at least 2 to 3 pitches, ultimate control of 2 pitches, and have an arsenal in there that you're working on, that you're working through.
Strike 3 got him. 83 mile an hour got Kerr looking, and Colin Pilcher will come up to bat now. So 2 down for the Bulls.
And effortless 83s we see there. Now we see teammate versus teammate again. Jay versus Owen Pilcher. Or as I would say, well, that moustache is questionable, Owen. 2 very big, strong kids. Like Owen's come up in a long time. He's done a lot of work with the Diamond Fitness crew. And it's a credit to the power that he's developed, the speed. He's a big kid who runs pretty hard. He trains exceedingly well.
Owen Pilcher hits that one high out to centre field and the right field. In the end, Aidan Brown takes the catch. I thought Limpus was going to take it, but Brown does instead. So
didn't quite clear it. Head down, running down. This is just interesting.
There's a bit of Durham Bulls about him. There's a bit of Bull Durham about him.
Oh, that's 70s guy, as I'm calling him from now on.
He's got that little flow going on as well. So that will do the Bulls. They score a pair of runs, and it was courtesy of the walks that scored the runs and the wild pitch. That will now bring up the Montgomery Biscuits, who will have the bat in hand. We'll throw down now to Grady Wolf. Got an interview for us. Take it away, Grady, with Wazza.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Warwick Southpole. Warwick, you've played the big leagues, and then tonight you've pitched to West Australian teams. How'd you go?
Yeah, it was all right. It was kind of a surreal experience. You know, the adrenaline doesn't pump as hard, but, you know, they're all talented kids, and, you know, they know exactly what they're doing, and that's why they're showcasing it tonight. And it was a lot of fun. I actually really enjoyed it.
And how's your body holding up?
Yeah, good. Little break really helped, and I feel fresh as a daisy. So, yeah, looking forward to joining the boys tomorrow.
You are flying out to Adelaide tomorrow. What can the Perth Heat fans expect from you this season?
Yeah, I'm just going to try and help the team any way I can. That's up to Andy, how he wants to use me, and you know, he's the boss, and I'll do whatever I'm told, and you know, really itching to get back out there.
Now, there's another West Aussie in the headlines this week, Liam Hendricks. Talk us through his massive deal he's about to sign.
Yeah, it's awesome for him. You know, he deserves it. He's the #1 reliever in baseball, and you know, he's had such a crazy journey, a roller coaster, and you know, he thoroughly deserves it. And I wish him all the best in Chicago. And yeah, it's going to be fun, and I'll be cheering him on.
Thanks for your time tonight, and best of luck joining the boys tomorrow.
Thank you.
Grady Wolf there with Warwick Saupold, who, of course, as he mentioned, Simon Arsons will be heading off to Adelaide in the morning to join the Perth Heat in the Adelaide hub, because Warwick Saupold spent some time, got signed and climbed up the ranks in the Detroit Tigers system, got all the way up into the big leagues, made his debut against the Baltimore Orioles for the Tigers, and then spent a couple of years with the Hanwha Eagles in the Korean baseball organisation, but has decided now that time to come home, and will spend his time with the Heat and Team Australia.
Look, it's you know, it was a bit of a shock when a few of us heard. But as you see, he is still, so not say the consummate professional, but he knows his role.
Yep.
And that's critical to any player that walks into an organisation, whether you've known the coach all your life. The idea is know your role, know what your situation is, and you bring the best that you can to the club. And he says, I've got something to offer, but I will do what I'm told, and I know what my job is as well.
This is Caleb Goodwin. We'll get his numbers in a minute on the mound. And Josh Davies at bat. It'll be Davies, Limpus and Bajarski. Someone's fouled off by Josh Davies.
So we've seen a crawl 85, 86, 87 from Caleb Goodwin. 188 centimetres. Yeah, he's a bit healthy. Sorry, Caleb. But he's a strong kid with an exceptionally strong arm. Can play multiple positions from the South Perth Baseball Club. It's interesting. You talk about giving back to the game, and his player that he cites as having the greatest influence to him as a player so far is Jake Bowie, former Houston catcher, and with the Perth Heat, not travelling due to work reasons at the moment. But it's good that from a club ball perspective that Jake gets into it. It's a great play by Daniel Choi.
Oh, Choi with the bare hand. Why bother with a glove when you don't need one? So Choi with the bare hand gets the out. And that was a pretty play.
Pretty play, pretty unconventional, but there you go. This is the ability to adapt to a situation. Look, we know this ball. You see it, should have come and got it, no questions. You see how he's let it bounce, all of a sudden up, bare hand, and then lets it go because he's a great arm. He's a catcher by trade as well, which is interesting. So the short throw works for him. Good glove work. Good ability to adapt to a situation.
So this is Jackson Limpus now. So Durham lead it 2-0 in this one. That one's fouled off. And, favourite show as well for Caleb Goodman. He's a SpongeBob SquarePants fan. So.
Yeah, that's actually Caleb. That's Caleb all over. I've had the fortune of being around him. He's a great kid to be around. He's got a good passion for the game. The thing I do like about Caleb is his willingness to learn. And under the tutelage of Arnie Knoll, the head pitching coach here, and he's grown. I mean, he's rolling the ball over at 86, 88. You see this ball inside, tailing inside. It's an effortless action for him. It's really quite frustrating.
Limpus draws the walk, bringing Bajarski up to the plate.
His favourite, Limpus' favourite player was Mike Trout. That was unusual.
Yep.
Will Sheriff is his favourite Heat player, so that's actually quite good. And he likes the Yankees. Jackson, you've just sort of gone down a few notches there with me, brother.
Yeah. Yankees not making a lot of noise. The Mets are, though, at the moment.
Yeah. Lindor's a good pickup in there, but let's just roll around onto the plate for this Dylan Bajarski. If there's ever an opportunity to look at a player who has got, I would say, his parentage in the game, in sense with his brother and the work ethic, to watch him and his brother Ulrich work out is just a beautiful thing to watch as a baseball parent and as a player. To see Dylan absorbing what he's doing, but Ulrich knowing when to, interject the conversations that are going on to help him. I can see the conversations. You know, the parents are outstanding people in terms of letting the kids be the kids and let the kids play. And there's definite raw power in this young man.
He did note in his questionnaire that his favourite Heat player is his brother, so that's good.
Yeah, Ulrich probably paid him to say that, but anyway, let's not mince words. Sorry, Ulrich probably did, didn't he?
That should be a fight at the dinner table anyway, because...
Oh, there's no food left on the table.
No, that's right.
That's a guarantee. I can tell you there is no food left on the table when these two players are around.
So Dylan Bajarski looks straight down at Caleb Goodwin. Caleb back at second, throws, and... beautiful pink sky out here at the moment. Simon, as we look out, good baseball sky.
Is that assisted by some of the unfortunate fires we've been having around here as well?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And apparently strong winds in the morning, apparently. 80, 90 kilometre westerlies. Easterlies?
Windsurfers get up.
Easterlies, should I say?
Nice routine. And that there, right there from Cameron Landy, the confidence to be able to move. Now, I say it with not with any sarcasm. I like the way Cameron Landy moves in to take that ball. I like the simple execution by Caleb Goodwin. It's a routine play, but sometimes the routine plays are the hardest to make.
Shot of the sky from the Showscreens crew. That one's fouled off into where the merchandise would be sold on it if this was a heat game. The bar is as well, but Dylan Bajowski working the count. 2-0 Durham leads, so Bajowski knows he needs to get something through the infield to score Olympus. Goodwin looks back at Olympus. Throws and Bajowski allows the count to go full.
Good selection or good eyes from Bajowski at the moment. He's, Caleb's a little bit up in the zone. He's a little bit in, but he's the thing that's impressing me so far is Dylan is learning to leave those pitches. He's not necessarily sitting for one particular slot. He's looking in a corridor of where he needs to hit it.
We'll take a walk with that. Pitch from Goodwin up in the helmet.
But he is one of the best stories of baseball for my liking, coming up next with Daniel Carter. For those that this is the product of some exceptionally hard work by a family and a young man for a kid who in the grand final of the under-18s last year ruptured his spleen.
That's right.
In left field, attempted to keep playing, still hung around as long as he could with his teammates after the game, ended up in hospital, sort of took the wind out.
There you go, that one's going to get through, and coming home to score is, as he slides in to score, as Olympus comes home to score, and Daniel Carter will find himself on second base. So nice bit of work from Daniel Carter, Simon.
Yeah, and as I was getting to it, and was having the series of his career. You watch this beautiful approach, line drive. He's got good leg speed. He's above average in his bat contact, and his performance was exceptional. He was trying to get back to this point in time. So this is a true testament to a kid who's worked exceptionally hard and had the backing of an amazing family to get him back onto the baseball field.
This is TK, Teo Kurosawa.
TK signed to a junior college this year after a lot of hard work. I've had him around in Pro League in the off-season for here. His favourite moment was breaking the tie in the under-18 grand final last year with a double down the right field line and doing the worst TikTok dance ever at second base I think I've seen a human being decide to do. It cost him.
Plays for Vic Park. So most of these guys now, Simon, in the state league, are they at state league level now?
Yeah, a lot of these guys are playing club ball at SL1 or SL2, so State Leagues 1, State League 2, depending on which club there is. I would say a large portion of them are in SL1 for some of the clubs that don't have a lot of depth. And they're more than holding their own. There's quite a few guys that are playing State League, and this is good. They're seeing 88s and 86s and on a consistent basis, and sometimes 90s. So their production is as expected with some of them, in the sense that they're feeling their way through the game, but they're certainly not overawed. And I attribute most of that ability to the work of Diamond Sports for a lot of these, and the high performance that was going on in the off-season, the expectation of how you perform at the level and compete and do everything that you can. It's quite natural for them at the moment.
That'll be huge also, talking Diamond Fitness. It'll be huge now that the gym's opening up just underneath the grandstand there, so there's a bit of a bigger strength and conditioning facility for these guys in the high performance program here as TK goes down on strikes. Beautiful 87 mile an hour there from Caleb Goodwin right down Broadway.
Good pitch all around. Just elevated enough to get him out the front. So TK wasn't quite looking at the top of the zone and having to control his bat there. Again, let's check the next at-bats. Let's see how they learn and how they progress.
This is Samuel Shepherd now. That one's wild. Coming home to score will be Bajowski. He's got plenty of speed. So Bajowski scores on a wild pitch.
You can see, look at the size above everybody else. Bajowski is standing above there, and he makes himself nice and comfortable, nice and easy. Good lead off, knows his process, goes straight away. You know, crosses comfortably.
Tied ball game now here.
It's great camera work. So Caleb's sitting around the 84 to 86 mark, 87 when he sort of gets a good extension on his pitches. There's definitely an 88, 89 in this arm without question.
Caleb Goodwin. So, I mean, pitch count wise, you're thinking these guys would be
40, 45 pitches. It's really where you want them to be at this stage. It could be a little bit more, but everything they've been doing at this program has been designed around these games and this performance and what you're seeing in front of you. So all the strength and conditioning, all the bullpens, all the flat ground work, as you see, good inside pitch there. All of this is designed around these games to showcase what they've got. This is their championship.
Shepherd thought it was missing, but umpire didn't.
Umpires are always right, Paul. That's right there. I'm not quite sure what you're looking at there, Sam.
Sam Shepherd looks at the next one, swings and hits that one to the entrance of the ballpark. We've done some heat players, sort of flag or posters or flags or whatever you want to call it, and on the walkway up now.
Certainly turning into probably one of the most picturesque
Yes.
English, my second language,
Yeah.
ballparks that you walk into, and it's homely, it's familiar, but it's also quite, it can be quite intimidating. A lot of new equipment floating around. Rod Drew, the #1 ticket holder for the Perth Heat, has been around on this diamond for, I think, since long as it was created, and has got it in excellent condition again for the upcoming series.
Walks. We're up to seven walks so far for the game.
Yeah,
between the two teams. So.
I'm not going into the next room to talk to the coaches after this, because it would be, I can only imagine. And this is part of why you play scratch matches before you go to a tournament.
Yep.
This is why you play the opportunity to iron out the creases, because it's great to throw to a catcher and work on it, get everything going as well as you can. But you stick an obstacle in front of you that it's going to do something against you, and it's going to change your mental approach to the game. How you handle that is imperative. How a coach communicates, and that's why I've enjoyed this. There's a lot of communication and a calmer head on there. Lee, this will be an interesting conversation. You've got Braden Moyle, Lee's son. Is there a conversation? If we look on his face, if he says anything to him, Lee, the consummate professional.
He's manager of the Bulls, son playing for the Biscuits. Braden Moyle.
But this is what there's so many coaches and there's so many opportunities for these kids to learn, and what we want them to do is listen and learn. You know, I've heard some great speeches. I mean, Jason Hewitt's been down here as a roving coach. Connor Lowry's down here as an assistant pitching coach. The other day, I believe, Bob Ossie, a former...
Yes, gave his 10 lessons.
The 10 lessons on life, so to speak. Would that be...
that was it. I got given a copy of the 10 lessons on life.
Yeah. It's actually, and from what I understand, it was quite enthralling for the kids to listen to, because it's a different set of eyes and ears that have viewed the game at a different time but played exceptionally hard. But ultimately the game is the same. So these kids have had access to some amazing talent and a great field. You know, the organisation that's put this together with the assistance of Tampa Bay has been nothing but outstanding, because these kids look good, feel good, and If you're not going to play state baseball, this is close to being as intense as you're going to get it over the next couple of days. I'd say tonight, iron out a few creases, let's be honest.
Brad Moore, a couple of share some notes throughout the day of some of Bob Ossie's words of wisdom. First is more important to be a good person than a good player. These drill, I like number 2 though. If you sleep with the dogs, you're going to get fleas.
Bob thinks a lot about the game, but the game is as close to life as you're going to get it sometimes, because you can relate to a lot of things here. And that's hard to teach a lot of young kids. It's hard to teach a young kid over here that you're going to go to college, right? You're going to go there and you're going to get up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and you're going to experience training, and then you've got to go and do schoolwork, and then you've got to go and do some other work, and then you're going to go get to the ballpark, and then you've got to go and try and be social, and then you've got to go back and do it again.
Runner goes as Moyle hits it up, and that's probably lucky the runner's gone, otherwise it could have been a play throw from Choi, just missed Riley Walsh, and as a result Moyle's scurried down to second. Runners come home to score, and Daniel Carter and the Biscuits have gone ahead 3-2.
Good piece by Braden Moore here. You said line drive up the middle, off the glove, takes the blow away. Unfortunately, what happens here is Choi hasn't quite got himself into a decent position, think he can do it. Just get the throw up a little bit more. These little things probably should have been easily gloved by the first baseman.
Yeah, the throw was all right from Choi. I think Walsh will possibly look at the replay and just think, boy, I could have got a better position than that. As Isaac Meldrum comes up to hit now. Isaac, spent a bit of time, spends his time in Dharma Fitness as well.
Yep.
So it's Isaac Meldrum, then Hayden Brown after that. Swing from Meldrum, and down on strikes goes Isaac Meldrum, and we are through the first. One complete. It is the Biscuits 3 leading the
Bulls
2.
We'll get there.
We'll get confused anyway. 3-1 complete. Quick timeout from us. Back for more shortly.
Hi, I'm here with the Bulls coach, Lee Moyle. Lee, you've had 24 hours with your boys. That's it. How do you prepare for tonight's game?
Well, the preparation, I believe, has happened over the last probably 3 or 4 years with working alongside a lot of these guys. They know what they have to do, their expectations. They're showcasing themselves. Motivation's coming from within with these guys. I just need to make sure that these guys are focused, they're tuned in, and they want to get after it and try and get a win for the Bulls.
And they've been out here for 2 weeks prepping pretty hard. What have they been through?
They've been through some pretty intensive defensive drills, repetitive infield drills. Catch has been working hard with Josh Kennelly. Adam Korch has been looking after the outfielders and the hitters. They get some a lot of reps. They've been throwing the ball nearly nine hours of the day as a group from 7:30 to 5. They're loving it. It's good.
And what are you expecting over the next few days?
I'm expecting good competition. The pitchers will get out there and they'll hunt our hitters, and our hitters are going to hunt our pitchers. They're going to rely on their infielders and their outfielders play good D. I'm expecting some good hitting, some good pitching, and some pretty good baseball all around.
And the last game was very tight. It was a draw. And so are you expecting a close game as well? It's showing that WA has some serious talent in the young guns.
Well, baseball's a crazy game. We can get blowouts. We can get tight games. These guys are prepared for any situation. If it's a tight game, they'll look after their emotions and control themselves and hopefully try and get a win.
Is there anyone we should keep our eyes on in the next game?
Most definitely. I've got some pretty good hitters in my lineup, but more so the starter and Caleb Goodwin on the bump. He'll throw pretty low 80s. He'll.
On that note, thanks and good luck. That's right, we can just cut it.
It was going so well, and then the old media backdrop falls off, which happens to the best of us as we're going to get set back here at Empire Ballpark. Paul Morgan's my name. Simon Ison's in for the call for this 18s Rays Showcase. This is Ben Bird leading things off. There's Ben Bird.
Yeah, a young kid who's he's worked his way up through the system. You know, he's down here to work hard and put the best in that he can. He's definitely, let's say, he's very tall, but he's not challenged with a lot of strength there. But he's got something about him that you enjoy as a teammate in the club. He likes to work hard. He knows he's a quiet kid. Hangs around the outfield, does what he has to do. Has a definite unusual pitching action. He's pitched in a game that I've been present, and you know, he can get the job done. So he's got a bit of a toolkit that you can use but does need a lot of refinement in there. Not a good start for Ben. For Jay Reynolds, I would say there's quite a short leash on Jay here, but he needs to make adjustments. And you know, we don't want to necessarily commentate on the game in this way, but what we want to see and express to people is there is something in there. We know his body's got the size. We know he's got the arm speed.
So bring it back to the top of the lineup, Braden Horsley, who drew a walk last time. Do you think do you think it's like all been going well, then all of a sudden, oh my God, it's the Rays Showcase and it's on TV? Is it a bit of that potentially?
I'd like to say no, but I think there is a small component that the smallest thing can be amplified in pressure situations, and this is what people are going to look at, and this is what I can clearly tell you that the coaches are looking at and commenting on, and the feedback will be designed around that. So they'll get the feedback tomorrow. There are some players who are going to hold their composure very well, and you can watch it by the way they move, and there's some players that know they need some work to be done. And a lot of it sometimes is it's not physical. It's a bit of a mental approach to the game.
Breaking down on film tomorrow, which should be good for the guys to have a look at. Reynolds throws to Horsley, and let's pitch 82 mile an hour in for Horsley.
It's for the pitches tomorrow will be it'll be. What were your mental approach? And then for every walk, we might as well do a poll. So there's going to be a lot of polls at the moment, I reckon.
Be fit by the end, that one.
Yeah. Sometimes the hardest lessons are the ones that you get forced to do.
Quite like the caps, though, the WA caps that they're all wearing.
This kit is, I'm jealous. You know, it's a combination from suppliers to our Perth Eden. I think it was Garment Apparel, is that correct?
Garment Exchange, yep.
Garment Exchange, my apologies. But, you know, the training equipment's been excellent. Their game gears, you know, it's got a good feel to it. I'm not quite sure what other states are doing in this process, but it gives it the feel. The intent of this entire program was to emulate a spring training program.
Yep.
Now, I certainly can tell you, after walking into the room next door where I was, where the coaching staff was sitting there, they are all fully aware of their roles in educating these young men into their next steps of baseball. And there's going to be some interesting conversations tomorrow about what happened and what didn't happen. You know, there'll be positive as much as there's going to be negatives. But this whole feel has just been amplified. This is real for them now, and luckily it's only the game one for some.
Count goes full now as Reynolds misses outside. Up the top here where we are in the broadcast booth in the middle next to the scorers. Then the coaches are in what is the super suite or the owner's suite, call it what you like, watching on and taking notes. I saw, as I walked in there before, plenty of note taking going on. And as you said, Simon, there'll be some feedback sessions tomorrow, which is all aimed to improve everyone's performance.
As I mentioned before, this is the first games, and the one thing that we've done well in Western Australia with our junior programs and has been the reason for a lot of junior success is there's always been a lot of pre-games beforehand where we iron out the creases. The coaches get to know the players get to know where they are in their position and where they have to fight for their position. You can't have lead-off walks. You can't have two-out walks. You've got to understand what your role is here, and it will be reinforced, and unfortunately it is magnified in situations like this as well.
That's Jay Reynolds' night done.
Jackson Riley. No, Riley Franklin. I'll get it one time.
Riley Franklin coming out to pitch then. There he's there, number 36, Riley Franklin.
Morley Eagles Baseball Club was with the 18s last year as one of the kids that was here to experience the game with the 18s. He got himself some outings and certainly learned. I know he's learned from that experience, and you want to see him grow. Not exactly a tall player. Left-handed is his advantage. His opportunity is in a fitness level in terms of creating more arm speed, and he's certainly worked out his approach to the game, which is always an interesting part for a pitcher. So, you know, he's got some good guys around him in the clubs, and one of the coaches in the next box, Dan Calverley, is at the same club as him, has been, you know, instrumental in trying to get his club and his kids back on the success path for these young guys.
Interesting as well is question of what players he's modelled himself on. Michael Waka, who doesn't throw the ball excessively hard, but uses his breaking ball very effectively.
Yeah, that's he's a. Let's say he's not a student of the game, but he knows the game.
Yep.
So he's been around for it. His dad, Jezza, is a big fan of the game of baseball and has played it at a decent level, in the sense that he knows when to step back and let his son experience things and sort of understand what he has to do, and that's a great understanding there. But this will be a good little battle with Cameron Landy.
So Landy got base hit in his centre in his last at bat. First pitch swing would have given the photographer behind home plate would have given him a great shot there of the swing and the ball coming towards the camera. You can see the photographer behind the home plate umpire there.
So it's a bit of all-round good there. It's Shelley. It's a good all-round approach there. You've got Cameron Landy, who knows that we've seen nearly 8 walks already here, and the objective of Riley is to throw a first pitch fastball, or at least a strike for a first pitch, and then Riley to understand that he's got an off-speed pitch that he needs to use, so he's keeping Landy off balance. So there's some good thinking going on. Now it's the execution, which is going to be the critical part.
Banged up the middle, just over TK's head. Load the bases. TK just needed that extra centimetre or two.
Yeah, it was like you see, it's just sort of off the bat. It sort of cuts in on the inside of him and just not quite getting up there off the glove. It's his second hit.
Back-to-back hits. Luden Tamara up for bases loaded, no one out. Top of the second. So Riley Franklin, first pitch offering is 70 miles an hour and above the letters for a ball.
Ow.
Shot there, Braden Horsley, who's camped out there on second base. The fielder's choice sign in the background.
This is also an opportunity. What we probably take away from things. This is an ABL ballpark.
Yep.
This is almost an international standard ballpark that you don't always get to play on or play games on. These kids train on this field a lot.
Yep.
And the pro league that they've had in the off season and things gives them the opportunity to play. But this is another level, you know, good skilled competition that's going to face them. But you don't always get to play on this ballpark.
Timara fouls that one off.
Good, young, big, strong guy. Swan Districts, a product of Arnie Knoll, the pitching coach. The head pitching coach is the head coach of Swans. But he's got a lot of young boys in that club. And Luton was in the 16s last year and still would be in the 16s this year. But he's one of these players that's been elevated.
So one high coming in is
Ben Bird tagging.
Centre fielder. Bird stays where he is, or he might come in a good job from Riley Franklin backing his catcher up.
So that's just a communication thing, but you just see, pops the ball up, gives an opportunity. See, Riley's first reaction is to get back behind home plate, so he's been around, he's been schooled well enough. See a good, little bit off throw, cuts it, the catcher's not quite ready, but Riley's right there.
Perfectly done.
Yep. Couldn't have written the script better. Didn't want it to happen, but you couldn't have written it better.
This is Riley Walsh now. Bases remain loaded. 3-2 for the Biscuits. It is the Bulls who have loaded bases, the Durham Bulls. Does Bull Durham rank in your all-time baseball movies?
Ah, second.
Yeah, your top three for me.
Top three, yeah. No, I'll give you top three. For the love of the game, the natural, Bull Durham.
Yep. I also bizarrely like Moneyball. I don't know why, but I just really like Moneyball. It's just,
Why wouldn't you?
I don't know.
Is it the characters or?
I don't know. I just think it's maybe
the
it's
learnings,
just,
the
maybe,
learnings
maybe
you
it's
got
just
from it.
that sort of I guess there's so much at the behind you. There's so many. I'd be so fascinated to sit in, you know, on trade discussions and just see what goes on. As you know, like it's GMs tell players, pack your bags, you're off to wherever. And
See, that's the part that I guess a lot of these kids are going to have to get used to. Is you are a commodity, and as a commodity, you have to perform in order to remain a commodity, and your stocks rise the greater you perform.
Yep.
So your work ethic has to slightly be amplified, but you have to be searching for continuous improvement. But then it's up to the club, the organisations, or whoever we walk along with, to elevate those players to find out what those niches are. And showcases like this, I mean, I would love to have been involved in something like this in growing up. The opportunity, one, to be filmed, to have video footage for after the game, to have specialist coaching, you know, ex-professionals, international scouts. There is a couple of international scouts that still live in WA that have come down and had a look, to know that you're being showcased, literally.
Santich after Riley Walsh struck out. So 1-1 count. So it's Riley Franklin there on your screen, the lefty.
Too many Rileys on these two teams.
Send up the shoot, and Olympus will camp under it in centre, make the catch. And that will do the Bulls' threat. They'll even loaded. 3-2. The Biscuits lead over the Bulls. We head to the home half of the second here at Empire Ballpark. Looks like a quick timeout from us. Back shortly.
I'm here with the Bulls captain, Cameron Landy. Cameron, you've been chosen as captain. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's a good honour. Bring leadership to the table, help the kids out. So, yeah, it's pretty good.
What have you been through the last 2 weeks to get here tonight?
just drills, helping out kids where they need it, with leadership and that. But no, it's been good. Yeah.
Are you nervous for the game?
No, not really. I mean, once first pitch, should be good.
And what are you expecting the other team to bring?
I'm not too sure, but I reckon we'll beat them. So.
I hope you do. Well, best of luck.
Wake up, or you might miss the one. Night call, early bird gets the burn. Treetops, where the wind blows by. Rooftops, home for the night. Shut eye, where your dreams don't sleep. Don't stop when your dreams ain't sweet. Break free from the 5-day week. Rockabye, rock a baby.
Welcome back to Empire Ballpark here in the West, in Perth, Western Australia. Great pitching change. Simon.
Caitlin Ainan. There are not enough superlatives for the work rate and the dedication to the sport that this young lady can offer, that I can provide. One, because I'm not educated enough. But in terms of if you're looking at a group of kids that work together and have had the tutelage that has been offered to them, this young lady has gone above and beyond to be as mechanically strong as she can be, as physically strong as she can be around an environment of some very strong men, and is a girl who genuinely loves the game of baseball. She's travelled a long way to play the game in different clubs, lives in the south, travelled north, decided to move back down south, has great statistics, body mechanics in relation to what she's supposed to do. Has been really, really impressive to watch, and will be a future, certainly, I believe, a serious representative for the Australian women's team as time goes on.
Aiden Brown into bat. It's Caitlin will pitch. Good to see that. Talking the TV show, Upper Middle Bogan is her favourite TV show. So that's a good one. Good show, actually. So Caitlin throws down to Aiden Brown. It's 75 mile an hour, 72 mile an hour, should I say?
Yeah, with a bit of a slip there. So from a body, she's been ticking all the boxes along the way in high performance training, throwing strikes, and not any arm concerns, but as you develop a new process like a lot of these guys are doing, and you can see them, we're testing them on Rapsodo and Andy Cole and the Perth Heat pitching coaches are looking at them changing their the mechanics from what they get taught in club ball, and it sometimes had a bit of a strain. So no injuries, but just trying to feel what things bend and creak. Good start for Caitlin.
Yeah, Caitlin gets
strike out.
The first pitcher tonight or today to start their work with a strikeout. Caitlin will goes to work now. It's Josh Davies in. Replace pitcher for pitcher. Replace Simon Ison with Warwick Sorpole. Good to have you in the booth, Was.
Thanks for having me.
So you've been the former all-time wins leader of Simon Ison's vacate. So you'd be pretty excited to head to Adelaide tomorrow to get back into it.
Yeah, I am. It was a good break though. Good to be home and
spend some time with the family and fiance, and really just separate myself from the game and really mentally refresh. And after the couple quarantine sessions, it gets a little bit tough. So yeah, it was a long year not seeing my friends and family, and it was very good to just separate myself from baseball and hit the links and play some golf and travel around a little bit and CWA.
Talk about, because you're in a bio hub pretty much the whole KBO season. So was there a lot of freedom for you, or like outside of baseball, or was it pretty much the park, the house, and pretty much that was that?
Yeah, that was that, mate. Unfortunately, it was apartment to the field, field to the hotel field, and yeah, it was tough at times. But we got the season in. Very thankful for that, and it was very hard. But as I said, to play a full season was remarkable in these conditions, and it was very different playing in front of no fans, and it was the atmosphere wasn't there, and very hard at times. But I had a ball, and it's just good to be home now.
Caitlin continues to ply a trade on the mound, and voice you're hearing is Warwick Sawpole, former big leaguer, KBO, and they'll go to Adelaide tomorrow to play for the Heat as well. But talk to us about this showcase for you. I mean, you were someone from Perth who went the whole way to the highest level you could possibly go. I mean, what does something like this do for kids at this age, and pitchers in particular, and what does this, the whole shebang of playing this round robin competitions, having it filmed, all that, what does it mean for, in your perspective, for them?
I think it's awesome. I think it gives them a taste of what it's about. Everyone loves playing under lights, especially in a facility like this, and they're very lucky, and there's a lot of talent out there. They've done a remarkable job, everyone behind the scenes, obviously with Dean White and all the coaches in there, and Korcher and Mark Pettit. Won't forget Pettit. Won't forget his golf swing either. But he, they've done a great job, and those guys have been amazing. And it's been a lot of fun. I rocked up today. I didn't realise there was going to be fans here, and to stand out there in the middle and just throw against some live BPs. It was a great fun, and I really enjoyed it. And just to watch the young talent go around and play under the lights is a lot of fun. So I'm really enjoying it.
Banged down to the right field. Is going to go back and just get over the top of the head of Braden Horsley. Coming home to score is Josh Davies. So the ball's tied up, but we've got Caitlin on the mound as well at the moment. I mean, this is a future for women's baseball as well, but it's a great opportunity at this level as well to get the reps in, and good to see some integration between everyone getting out there and making baseball stronger.
Oh, absolutely. And I was saying before during the week to Mark Pettit, and she actually has really good mechanics. It's actually really fun to watch, and it's very smooth, and she throws a lot of strikes. And as a pitcher, that's the main goal. And she goes out there and pounds the zone, and lets her fielders behind her do the work. And that's the main thing about pitching, and she does a great job of it. So it's great to see her out there amongst the boys and really taking it to them.
Dylan Bajowski. Did I hear Dylan got one off you during the weeks?
Yeah, it's funny. Obviously playing a lot with his brother, and his brother being with the Tigers as well. And Aaron Ottaway was behind the mound umpiring, and I threw him a first pitch curveball, and he swung at it, and I actually turned to Otts and said, let's see if he's a Bajowski, and I threw a fastball down the middle, and he hit me deep to right field, and turned around to Otts and said, yes, he's definitely a Bajowski. He's got a lot of power and a good swing. So, he's got a lot of talent. He's a big boy, and he's going to be a very strong guy. And if he can stay off the sparkling water and just drink still water, I think he's going to go a long way.
You'd have to be pretty hopeful now. You look around, even no, it didn't necessarily go the Heat's wave, like Rickson Wingrove and these young Australian guys coming through. As you probably, you'll be around in Team Australia for a fair while to come. You must be pretty optimistic about where Australian baseball is at.
Oh, absolutely. I think there's a lot of young talent coming through, and, Wingrove's just one of them. But, you got guys like Curtis Mead and Robbie Glendenning, and, then you got the arms. You still got, Todd Van Stencil, Luke Wilkins, Tim Atherton still, looking in good shape. And, these guys, I think if we can just keep progressing and developing these young guys, and you got young guys like, Maddox Stivey, who's probably going to be knocking on the door very shortly, and as a 16-year-old to be on a Heat roster is pretty special, and hopefully we see him in the Heat uniform in not too long
distant future. And yeah, just looking forward to seeing these young guys progress.
So you had that. The Heat have had a bit of a mixed bag so far, but the team in when you look at the team, you look at the names, you look at the pitch, you look at the arms, and the arms have done a phenomenal job. I mean, I guess is it a case of that just the consistency of the season hasn't happened enough, so it just hasn't all clicked as it possibly will?
Yeah, I think this year too, our arms are very good. Our bullpen, I think, is very good. You go to the bullpen and guys like Gherkin and Strong and Reiniger, that's a very good, strong bullpen and very exciting. Then you look at our starting rotation. You got Unsworth, Salsa, and Wiles, and they're all great arms, and they did a great job in Brisbane. And there's going to be days where we hit and don't pitch, and there's going to be days where we pitch and don't hit. And if we can just balance it out and just play consistent baseball, I think we're going to go a long way, and I think we can compete for another title.
Because I'd have to. I mean, I would have thought that that's probably the best pitching staff the Heat have possibly had for a long while. Like just when you look at adding you into it, of course, it would have to be. So I mean, I think when you look at the teams now, I mean, you look at it depends on who you're going to end up playing and how with quarantine. But it gets out there at first and 2 down for the Biscuits. I think there's a lot to be, for Heat fans, there's a lot to be optimistic about.
Yeah, I think it's a different type of pitching staff, what we've had in the past as well. I think we've had some really good pitching staffs, but they're all cagey. You look at guys like Mike Ekstrom, Ben Moore, Jack Frawley. These guys that came out here and did what they did, they were kind of different pitchers. And now it's like young, up-and-coming guys that probably are going to have a future they're going to be watching on TV, moving forward. So I think it's a different aspect there. And, it's definitely probably the most exciting because obviously once they leave here you're going to keep your eye on them and see where they progress. But it's a very talented pitching staff, and take nothing away from the hitters. I think the hitting lineup is actually very good as well.
Absolutely. So we'll get you to break down Caitlin's mechanics. You said before, and watching Caitlin's mechanics, she's got a very fluid. So I mean, what from your perspective, I mean, as you now, as I say, you've reached the highest of heights. Like, what advice do you give a young pitcher like this when you're watching him?
Yeah, it's just very smooth and compact, and stays over the rubber well, and then drives from A to B from the mound to home plate, and doesn't kind of have too rotational or anything like that. She just kind of gets up there and throws it, and that's what you like. It's pretty easy for her. There's a couple of arms out there that kind of try and do too much and throw too hard, and their head flies all over the place, and arms and legs going everywhere, and they're the ones that are kind of a little bit harder to try and maintain and try and stay off the training table. But yeah, they're very good mechanics, and if you want to become a pitcher, they're mechanics you can actually follow because they are actually very, very smooth.
Yep. Before we let you go, what at this age for these kids, what was the best advice you got?
Just play the game hard, be a competitor. Don't take losing lightly, and when you win, win with respect. But it's as a pitcher, it's you versus him, and just try and win every battle. Take one pitch at a time, and I just took that a lot with me along the road, and it seemed to work out all right. So
do you now look back from your major league time or KBO? Do you look back and think, is there one at bat that you sort of replay in your mind? Is there one that sticks out that you just go, I got him with a good one that time?
There was an outing in New York at Yankee Stadium that really sticks with me, and I faced Todd Frazier, and I can't remember the other two guys, but the ball was moving around well, and I knew exactly what I was doing, and I was 95, 94, 96, and my velo had never been up that high, and then I just threw a backdoor breaking ball and got a couple punch outs, and it was a punch out and 2 quick ground outs, and I was in there and out there, and to do that at Yankee Stadium's a big thrill. So I think that's one outing that really, really sticks with me.
Do you ever just stop and reflect and go, I pitched at Yankee Stadium? Does it ever just like occur? Do you just kind of just doesn't really ever enter your mind, or do you ever just sometimes just sitting around and you think? You see the 10 million Yankees or Red Sox hats around town and go, geez, you know what? I used to play against those guys.
Yeah, and when it's all said and done too, pitching at Yankee Stadium and Fenway Park. I was lucky enough to do both, and they really do stick with me. Yankee Stadium for that outing, and then at Fenway, I actually came in the game and I started playing Lounge Down Under on the on the speakers, and that just absolutely blew me away. It actually rattled me for a little bit. So I came in to I had to get one out, with a couple of runners on, and I got out of it. And then the next inning didn't really go my way, and I think I gave up the lead and got a loss, but. That really just rattled me with the whole down under getting played, and then everyone starts yelling at me and get off the mound, you Aussie, and all that stuff. And they're the two that stick with me because they're such iconic stadiums, and I feel very privileged to be able to pitch there.
You did get to sign your name though in the Green Monster from memory.
I did. I went out there with Ian Kinzer actually, and with his young family, and went out there and he took me in there and got to put my name on the Green Monster.
Yeah, good. So we'll continue here. We'll let you go, Woz. I know you got plenty of people to see before you're heading in the morning to Adelaide.
Yeah, just got to pack my bags and be at the airport bright and early in the morning to meet the team at lunchtime. And very keen, and hopefully I can help out.
Do you know when we were sort of puzzling it before, but we were sort of thinking possibly Saturday would be when you'd be pitching. Is that close?
It's pretty much what we've spoke to about Andy, and how he uses me is up to him. And he just said be available for Saturday, and so that's why I kind of got an inning today and or inning tonight, and make myself real sharp for Saturday, and hopefully I can help us get a few W's.
Beautiful, and just right on cue, the inning has ended. We're through to complete. Warwick Silver, thanks so much for your company, and really looking forward to watching you pitch for the Heat.
Thanks for having me, guys.
That was Warwick Silver. We'll take a quick break. Back for more shortly.
Now I've found the Biscuits coach, Peter Torpy.
Peter, how have you prepared for tonight? You've only had your team for 24 hours.
The good thing is I've come through the 16s program, so I've had some of these guys for 3 years, so they know a lot about my coaching style, and I know a lot about them. So we've had, even though they've been a team for 24 hours, we've known each other for a while. But it's been a battle.
They've had 2 weeks of grueling drills and things like that. How have they got to tonight?
A lot of hard work. They stayed together really well. We've really pushed them mentally to get through things, but they'll handle it. They'll handle it.
And is this showcase somewhat better than the travelling that they were meant to be doing as the national championships?
Throw me under the bus here. No, look, I see it as an opportunity for the guys. They're hungry to get out and play. They like to compete. So, it's great to travel, but, it's just an opportunity to get on the field, get in front of a camera and play. They're going to take every advantage of it.
And what are you expecting tonight, tomorrow night and Friday night?
3 W's. Let's hope anyway.
Well, best of luck. We'll see what they've got in store. Thank you.
Welcome back to Empire Ballpark here in the West. As Paul Morgan's my name. Warwick Silver has departed the booth. Simon Isons has returned. And Simon, Caitlin, we're talking Woz as well. Just terrific mechanics and good baseballs. The first pitch offering is sent up high and deep, and catch is taken. That was Daniel Choi at bat. Catch taken out. Let's see Choi here. Noodles.
Noodles. I was talking to Andrew Murray about this, who wrote up a lot of the questions, and the running joke for Daniel Choi was, sorry, Daniel, there's no noodles, because he was sort of comments there. But, yeah, you're right. Look, you're talking about what we saw from Caitlin Ain in there, and, again, I said I couldn't have enough superlatives to talk about the way that she approaches the game. She did in there. She held herself in there. It wasn't a walk scenario. There was a bit of an error in right field. But what stood out for me in that last innings was a young man who is now catching in Josh Davies, and the man can flat out run.
Yeah.
This kid can absolutely run, and you hear the scouts, or not necessarily the scouts, or in some cases the scouts in that room and the coaches are all talking the positives of this young man whose footwork is sensational. You talk about an opportunity to consider this young man for something a little bit more as his parents are, 6'1", and there's still opportune room for this kid to grow. He had a good at-bat. He took advantage of a wayward pitch, drove it to right field, and then just used some leg hustle. And you saw that excellent steal at home plate as well. So these are the things that we want these kids.
Kerr hits that one to Sam Shepherd, who throws across to Meldrum and gets the out.
Yeah. These are what we want to see showcased here, is to see a good hard hit ground ball here, up the middle. See a good. Let's see. Look at the hustle of the catcher there, the young catcher, Josh again, just keeping pace with the runner as well. So putting him in catcher's gear on him, he can still keep up with most people.
Owen Pilcher.
That 70 show guy. That's all I'm calling him. Big, strong boy. When he gets onto a ball, it is absolutely well and truly hit on the right side. He's just got to find that zone for himself, and at times probably stop hunting for that perfect pitch. A lot of these guys they do a lot of hunting for, I want that pitch in that certain slot, when there's got to be a freedom to the game that is slowly uncovered through tournament play.
Yep.
The one thing I've noticed with any tournament play, and this is where the WABL clubs or the clubs here are going to have an advantage, and it always happened. Every time these kids went away with a tournament and thing, they were through the ball every day, sometimes twice a day. They hit once or twice a day. They played baseball pretty much every day, and then they came back and they were better club ball players when they came back. Yep. They'd seen more pitches, they'd thrown more pitches, they'd been in situations that amplified and sometimes was a lot better than club ball. It's the opportunity that they have right in front of them now has just given them another notch up when they step out into their club ball environment.
Pilcher, the full count. Riley Franklin, your pitcher. So he draws a walk.
That's a good at back by Owen. Again, as I said, he'd be looking for that perfect opportunity, but you see, he leans away from it, recognise it, can't pull the trigger on a pitch like that, especially towards, 3-2 count, I think it was anyway.
Ben Bird. Assuming the answer is going to be Dodger Stadium, but if you had one start in the major league career, would it? What stadium would you want to pitch at? I'd say a team. What stadium would you want to pitch at?
What stadium I would want to pitch at? Well, it'd be obvious that I'd like to. I guess I've had the fortune, we'll call it, of playing at Dodger Stadium. So
have you?
That's fine. Yeah, as a young guy, I had the opportunity to do that. But that's actually interesting because you look for iconic fields. The one place I'd like to play baseball is the Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
Not necessarily an MLB stadium. I'd like to play at the Field of Dreams.
Hopefully that gets a run this season. It's good backup fielding as well by the Biscuits. Prevented any chaos on the base path just then. 1 ball, 2 strikes for Ben Bird.
Have you visited many a stadium? Anywhere that you haven't been that you desperately want to go?
You know where I really want, I really want to go to Bush Stadium. I just think everyone always raves about it. I haven't been there, but Ben Bird gets a little blooper into right field and get himself a base hit.
And good heads up there by, obviously Ben staying in the at-bat, but good heads up by TK. He's playing up the middle a fair bit, so he's got a long way to go in there. He knows if he gets that ball, his first opportunity, see he goes to second base, looks to see if the runner's taken a hard turn. Owen Pilcher around the corner. good, again, situational awareness of what's next, because as players right now, as an outfielder, you've got an interesting situation where you've got a guy who can run very well at second base. If that ball's hit along the ground, your focus should be to home plate. It shouldn't be worried, but if that's hit where you're moving considerably to your left and your right position, and you know your eyes are going to come up, you're going to go back to second to keep the runner in a, I guess, I'm not saying non-scoring position, but an extra base for it. So you want these guys to be able to think one step ahead, replay it in your head. You know, the coaches will be drilling this process through them all the time. So, you know, for many people who, you know, if there's people outside of the country watching this, this is not just young kids playing the game of baseball. This is potential their futures online, their opportunity to showcase what they can do for colleges, and some of them to live their little dreams of, this is the first step I have to take in order to get an opportunity to play baseball in America, or some overseas as well.
The college dream comes around for some more Aussie kids. I love sort of, I just think what is happening now. Every year it just gets better and better. The pathways. That one's going to go.
Ow.
Oh no, it's going to stay in beautifully.
Yeah.
Coming home to score quite comfortably in the end is Owen Pilcher. That's why that must be one of the pitches, Simon, that drives you.
It kills you. You know, you're throwing strikes and you see this. You fooled him on a pitch outside and you can't do anything about it and it drops in. But that's the game of baseball. And Warwick said this, you know, treat every win with humility, but learn from your mistakes and learn from the mistakes, but take the losses, not as overly personal, but understand what you've done or what's happened. Sometimes, you know, sometimes you can't influence everything. And this is where the pressure builds up. And that's usually what I like to see personally, right? What just happened then. A bleeder, didn't working things, get back into the strike zone. So it's a good job by Riley Franklin to say, okay, well, I've still got to throw strikes.
Riley Franklin throws. That one's hit high and deep. Jackson Limpus will camp under it, make the catch. Head to the home half of the third. The Biscuits lead the Bulls 5-3. We'll take a quick timeout, see if Grady Wolf's got someone for us, and back right after this.
I have the Biscuits captain, Dylan Biarski. Dylan, are you excited?
Yeah, I'm excited. You know, we've been training for the last week and a bit, so it's good to play these 3 games.
And you've been chosen as captain. Is that an honour?
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to lead the team. Hopefully get 3 wins for the next couple of days.
And your brother's away playing with Perth Heat at the moment. Does he teach you a little bit about baseball?
Yeah, he's always there to help me when we go hit in the cages. He always gives me tips, and it's good, yeah.
And so you've had 2 weeks out here. What's been involved?
We've been having long training sessions, doing team defense, hitting, just all of that. And coaches are really good with helping us getting better.
And you guys were meant to travel for the national championships, but unfortunately COVID has put the barriers up for that. You've got this showcase instead. Is this almost better?
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to simulate like a spring training almost. And it's a great opportunity for us, and it's almost as good, yeah.
Are you excited for the game tonight?
Yeah, I'm excited. Finally get to play a couple of games and get out there.
And what are you expecting from the other team?
I'm expecting a good game, hopefully, and just leave it all out on the field.
Well, best of luck, and we can't wait to see who gets the win.
Welcome back to Empire Ballpark here in the West. I'm about to take a side step, and Mark Pettit's going to come in and join Simon Ison. So perfect timing. Mark, take over the headset. Simon, away you go.
What Mark doesn't realise is he's now the call guy, the commentary guy for for the showcase. Welcome, Mark.
There's a lot of things that I am, Simon, and a call man is not one of them.
Look, this is young Daniel Melancelli on the mound for the Biscuits. Mark, for those who don't know, your role in the showcase tournament is the on-field coordinator. So do you want to give a brief description of that role?
Yeah, look, Andy Kyle and Dean White have done a mountain of work putting this together over the past few months, and my role really has just been to make sure we have the coaches in the right positions, make sure they've got an understanding of the way we want things done and the way we want things taught. So to make sure the coaches are prepared that they can then pass the information on just makes everything run a little easier. So that's been my role mainly. I've been liaising with Andy every day, also working with, we have really good coordinators that we're working with as well. We have Lee Moyle, who's in charge of the infielders. Adam Korch has done a great job as the offensive coordinator, also in charge of the outfielders. Josh Kennelly's been working with the catchers, and Arnie Knoll and Connor Lowry have been working with the pitchers. Arnie's taking on the pitching coordinator role, but Connor's been there as well. So, and they're working with our other coaches that we've got along and making sure the instruction is flowing, and we're covering off everything we needed to tick off over the 2 weeks.
So, you know, the edited version is the coach of the coaches, which is the way to do it, and along with the support of Andy Kyle, which has been, you know, I've been around you, learning from you, and over a couple of years now, and it's come to mind. You've been around since the dawn of time. Now, that's not a reflection of your age, maybe your baseball age and baseball brain in here is, but it is an absolute pleasure to see. We see a nice little ground ball to Daniel Choi, lip over, nice and easy.
Good, thank goodness. Yes,
got the transition. Yes, okay. There was no. Yeah, you didn't. You bit your tongue there, Mark. I see it. You know, good. Daniel Melancelli is starting to show his little fact. A lot of strikes, which is good for him. But the coaches is a challenging role. How did this start for you? How did this mentoring and sort of coaching role start for you?
I've been really fortunate over my time to work with some great people. So the first one that would spring to mind is, of course, Don Kyle. Don's role and Don's influence over me can never be overstated. To work with him and see the way he managed people, but also the way he structured trainings and his instruction methods were key for me. I guess I'm really lucky that the people that we have in baseball are, and in these programs are all, like yourself, Simon, you know, we all get together and it's all talk about baseball. It's about, you know, can we do things better? Do we do things different? Let's not just change for change's sake. If there's a reason for change and it's going to make things better, let's do it. We're dealing with a whole lot of data now with TrackMan and Rhapsodo that 3 years ago I would never have seen any of that coming. So when those changes come along, it's great to have people around that have a real thirst for it. So it's an interesting role. It's been fantastic doing it and having young guys coming on like Brandon Migro, Kurt Russell, Kent Fitzgibbons, you know, all there sort of as young men going, okay, well, we really want to make sure we can, you know, we really want to improve. We've had Bob Bossy come along and talk to us about, you know, 10 goals that kids should be setting for themselves, and to see the way the guys reacted to that was amazing. We've had Jason Hewitt and Rod Drew floating through, passing on their wisdom and their knowledge. And we've got Dan Calverley, who's come back into the game after spending some time in the US at college quite a few years ago. I don't know if you'll appreciate quite a few years ago, but it was a few years ago. And just his experiences over there and bringing them into this as well has been, tying that all together has been wonderful. It's been really, really rewarding. We make a good play here. No, we're not, but your left fielder is in the right position, which is probably a big tick.
After today's game, Mark, you're looking for a lot of ticks, as we're saying. I mean, the conversation between Paul and I and in general being is this is a situation where they're thrust into the light, and maybe the situation has caught up with a few of these guys. Now, going to your points before, you rattle off one of the things that I've enjoyed the most is there are a lot of people that want to put back into the game what they've gotten out of it. I don't know for the likes of Kent, who does need a haircut, you know, reflection.
Well, I blame You only have to look at the top there for the Andrew Kyle, but that's...
Yeah, okay, but that's a style thing.
That's all I'm going to
some people can carry it off. But ultimately, you're looking at there as we see a great innings by Daniel Mellon, so a big tick as well.
Yep.
A guy who's throwing the strike. So this is not a commentary about the instruction of baseball. This is a commentary about the game of baseball and these kids learning. So for you, where did your baseball start? How did you get involved? I mean, you had Don as a coach, but where did your bite or this game come from?
Really lucky. I played my junior baseball at Kelmscott, and then we turned into Gosnells. My first ever, I guess our first A-grade coach back then was a gentleman by the name of Mike Burgermeister. So having Mike there and seeing the way he structured trainings, the way he ran things, and was a wonderful experience for me. I then got the opportunity. My younger brother's team needed a coach. So back then, being a uni student, any way you could get your fees paid was worth it. So I got into coaching and had a year off from playing. I was injured, had some surgery on my legs, and then got an opportunity through the Junior Baseball League back then to work with Chuck Sloman, who was the development officer. People might probably remember Chuck, and offered me an opportunity to be a second assistant coach with the state team that played here in 1990, of which there were a few names on that team that ended up winning the national championship. Names like Jason Hewitt, Brad Prizov, Mark Vaseko, Shane Spry, Darren Simmons. So that's where I started, and then probably just from there stayed involved from the coaching side of things, and just managed to go from one team to another, and things just sort of rolled along. Got the opportunity to go to America, worked with Gary Ward at Oklahoma State for a couple of winters or summers over there at these baseball camps, and then with some junior college guys that they brought in, which was an amazing experience. Got to coach some Australian junior, being involved in Australian junior squads, and all of those, tying all those things back in here and bringing it back to WA has been really, really good fun.
Bringing it back to WA, you are literally the perennial state coach of the state coaches. You've been around since the dawn of time, and I've been around long enough to know that your name is synonymous with these state teams. Okay, so it's an honour to be part of an organisation when you're coaching. Because I spent some time with you last year, and I'm old. There's no quit. Tick the box. Moved on. I'm old, past my game, and I still want to know more because as a pitcher, you don't do much about the game of baseball. I spent a winter's day with you in Melbourne trying to understand one of the fundamentals about being a coach, because you have a very, very calm demeanour about yourself, and you can see it in the communications that you give. I see a good little pitch for rolling out by Flynn McGann, the new pitcher for the Biscuits, rolling out a nice little 88 at the bottom of the zone, makes Mark's light up, smile a little bit. A young kid who has been has had an exceptional pathway of growth over the last 3 to 4 months, or even 5 months with the Pro League. A kid who's worked his arm, worked hard. Sitting around the 88 mark is good for him. He was around 83 2.5, 3 months ago. So projection of this kid is extraordinary. But how do you? Is it? I go back to the conversation. You have a calmness about you that is drawn. Is it drawn from other players? Is it drawn from experiences? Or it just, are you, as you had said to me quite eloquently, if I was a duck sitting on the water, those legs are going at 1,000,000 miles an hour. How do you pass that calmness on to a lot of these players? Because I think, quite frankly, quite a few of them could do with it.
There is a lot of times in the past there'd be a lot of guys going, he was never calm. I can't remember that guy. I don't know who that Mark Pettit, the calm guy, is. I guess as you grow, and not just in baseball, but as a person and in your role as a job, because baseball's not my job. So when you're in your work or whatever, you need to know that, well, there's more than, how do we get the best out of people now? And I actually look at what a lot of the AFL coaches do. Gone are the days where Dave Parker, God bless him, and his jugular vein popping out and everything else. And now you see the way coaches deal with individuals. I mean, we're not going to get, it's not a one-size-fits-all model.
No.
And our kids over here respond well when they're dealt with in the manner that gets the best out of them. Dean White's done a great job giving us some psychological evaluations of the players. And we've gone through those as coaches and said, yeah, well, that matches their personality type. We can see what that kid gets, and we see why those kids, oh, yeah, if we blow up at them, they won't go well, or they need a bit more of a pat on the back type thing. No, these ones actually need to be told straight out what's going on. So I think understanding now communication isn't just about getting your own message across as loud as you can. Sometimes the best way to communicate with someone is, you know, a lot quieter. And it's just a matter of trying to match that as quick as you can to the players that are involved.
It's something that I've observed from you over the last couple of years, and especially when you speak to not just the Pro League players, not just the high performance players, but even with the Perth Heat players. The likes of Daniel Schmidt has become sort of, let's say, enthralled in what you're trying to do, because you have a passion to make people better. It's quite simply you. I mean, you are one of the Perth Heat pitching coaches, you're the bullpen coach, or whatever you want to look at it, and you still draw a crowd with elder players. This information is, you know, do you feel that this batch of young kids truly understand the impact that you've had to the game of baseball, or are you just dealing with the cards that you see in front of you?
Look, I'm more worried about the thing about this past 2 weeks hasn't, and even last year when we were with the under-18s, you know, working with Adam there and you guys, and being able to do that stuff about not so much worry about what the players are doing. I don't have to be the focus or the results-focused guy on what's happening on the field. To sit back and actually work with the coaches and say to them, look, this is the best way to probably get your message across. This is what we haven't ticked off yet. This is what we need to do. I can sit back now and go, okay, I don't have to worry about teaching someone how to field a ground ball. I need to worry that the guy who's teaching that skill has the communication tools to get the right message across. Which is what keeps that. That's what is really, really exciting for me. I mean, working with the older guys is fantastic. I mean, Schmitty's been amazing this year for me. You know, I've asked him to do a few things, we've tried a few things, and that's been a real two-way streak. Yep. You know, he certainly hasn't been me sitting and going, mate, I think we need to do this and this. He's been awesome at trying stuff and doing different things. RC, the pitching coach that's come over from Tampa Bay, has brought some other things to the table that are really exciting, with different drills and throwing progressions that make a whole lot of sense, and we're not far off what he's teaching.
That's critical to to learnings for what this showcase is involved in. What we're teaching the kids is you're passing down information to the likes of Arnie, Connor, Dan Calverley, Kent, Curtin, and these guys, information that is being truly taken from a Moneyball perspective, to be honest, and from a unique coaching, because it evolves continuously. But if you're saying we're not far off, then these kids right in front of us right now are starting to understand the need to treat situations differently, the need to have a different approach for an at-bat, the need to focus like Flynn is now on the mound. I mean, this kid's come into a game into a scenario where we've had, 10 walks, and he knows his number one goal probably is to throw strikes, because that's what the message coming down from that bullpen coach would be.
Yeah.
Stop putting kids to sleep.
Yep.
And keep them alive.
Yeah, absolutely.
For those who ever get the opportunity to sit with Coach Pettit, as he is known, he is Coach Pettit, the conversations that I think you had with the 16s and 18s coaches last year are some of the best times I've had for 2 weeks of baseball, and just sitting there listening to being taught, and the feedback that you elicit. I think the organisation, this Rays Showcase, is in good hands with you.
Oh.
Good luck for the next couple of weeks. Good luck for when the Heat come back for you.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's going to be really exciting.
Do we see you? A positive, another positive for an innings. It's,
another tick.
You're a jig.
Another tick.
A lot of ticks.
Doing a lot here. It's just ticking the box.
There's a lot of ticks in there, and hopefully Adam Korcher hasn't lost his blue book and is able to tick a little bit more in there.
Well, he'll be okay. But just before I go, Simon, I just want to thank everyone that's been involved with this. To have you and Paul here, you know, it adds a whole lot, another element for these guys. It really does. And the interviews with Grady before, and just having all of this set up for these guys at night, it's a bit beyond a national championships now for me. I think it's going around the world. I heard Paul before saying he's getting comments from America and stuff like that. I mean, we had that chat with the players before, and we said, look, you're now not being watched by your mum and dad in the stands. Everyone's got to stop watching you. There's people in the States that can video this, access this footage whenever your name comes up, and they'll associate with you playing in this showcase. So if you don't give it everything you've got tonight, you know, who knows if they get another chance to see you. So it's just added so much to it, and we really appreciate it. And I know the guys out on the field do, the coaches do as well. So I just want to say thank you to all of you for being involved. It's awesome.
It's good fun, but before you go, we have to ask the ultimate question, and you have to provide an answer. Who's your favourite coach in that room? Oh, actually, even in this organisation so far. Who's your favourite coach?
Oh, Andrew Kyle.
No, he's not here.
Yeah, but he's listening.
No, but I know he's listening, but he's not here. Right now, in this group of collective we've got, who's your favourite coach?
Geez, Simon.
you can't sign language. You can't sign language.
Who's your favourite kid?
No,
all right.
My son's my favourite son.
Okay, yes. How many sons you got?
One.
Yep, that's a good answer.
You've got lots of coaches, so choose one.
Who's my favourite coach?
I'm not going to ask you why. I just ask you who your favourite coach is.
My favourite. I think for sheer entertainment value, it has to be Josh Kennelly. Just sheer entertainment value.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
Hands down.
There's always a story.
There's got to be. Yeah. There's got to be a book run on it as well. So I'm pretty impressed. It's a good wise choice as well. Thanks for your time, Mark.
Thanks, appreciate it. Cheers, mate. Cheers. Paul, thank you.
Never a dull moment. The 50 Shades of Red, as we'll call that on Mark Pettit's wax, and I probably would have heard a few little giggles next door. But it's always one of those favourite things that the one thing that this organisation, and by this organisation I say WA, has produced, it's a collective group of coaches and support staff that actually genuinely enjoy each other's company, and it makes baseball a lot easier to be around.
It does, and I tell you, it was Bajarski puts that one high and deep, and it's not going to get out though. It looks like circling under it and making the catch is going to be Dan Carter. No, it looks like Ben Bird. With the wrong.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Slight difference in the guys, yeah. But
I looked at it, I was like, that is not Dan Carter.
It gets it up. It gets it up just enough though, but you can see those flags just blowing briefly in there. This is a good roundup by Birdie because it had the depth to get there. Great for Owen Pilcher to be at the back. Again, you want to see these guys, and Mark's now to look for positions, look for ticks. This is Daniel Melancelli again back on the mound. Look for position, the ticks that these guys are doing the right things. And as the game's gone on, they've got themselves a little bit better.
Gets past Riley Walsh there first, out to right field. And base hit, but appreciate Mark Pettit coming in and terrific coach, terrific guy, and does so much for baseball. And you know, all these kids are beneficial. And you know, it is the small things. But I tell you, it was actually a lot of fun going into that.
That room.
That room.
Oh yeah.
I learned a lot.
You learn a lot of things, and you know, there's certainly there's a vibe in there, and this is one thing that I know. I came down the other day to watch the training and a little machine pitch game that was going on. And the one thing I enjoyed was this intensity that these young guys are doing. It was stinking hot, but they were still running around. They were still putting themselves in situations of baseball. I mean, fair enough, that's what you're here to do, but there's doing, and then there's being forced to do it. They weren't forced to do it. They were actively pursuing all their running drills, all the positional drills they had to do. They hustled on and off the field. So that's a credit to that coaching staff sitting in that room, and the people that have been involved in the game, passing on the will to be better and the desire to get better. As you see Daniel Carter there, and you know, as I said at the start there, a kid whose prime objective was to get back into the game to the level that he was playing at with the under-18s, which was exceptional because a couple of years before that, he was in limbo. He hadn't quite decided, but he decided to put his mind and his body online to get better and produced an exceptional result.
Yep. The TK at bat. Bangs the lead. I think that's going to be all right.
Nope.
No, just missed for TK getting himself. I reckon he probably would get double if that would. He's got some speed.
He's got some exceptional speed, and I know one thing he is very proud of is wearing that jumper on his back at the moment with the number 44.
Absolutely. Of course, it's the number made famous from the great Greg Jelks here in the West. And actually in the room 2 doors down is Jason Hewitt, who is the man behind the Greg Jelks Foundation, which should get Huey in here at some point just to have a good conversation about that again.
Have we got enough time left?
He said the same thing about you, actually.
Yeah, that's funny about that. It's a shock. You would have had more fun about them talking about how, yeah, let's not go there.
Family friendly.
Yeah, family friendly. Yeah.
Sam Shepherd up to bat now for the Biscuits. I really hope an ABL franchise becomes a Biscuits. I'm enjoying calling a team the Biscuits. It's the throw back to second with sliding back in time. So of course, tomorrow there's a bit of one screen with the Heat game on in here and one screen with this game on as well. I think it's at 4. I think the Heat play at 4:35 tomorrow. This game's at 4 o'clock tomorrow, these two teams. As that one's banged through, he's going to get pun up. Brilliant effort there by Cameron Landy. Throw across the almost.
And that's a perfect example of what I was saying. You watched the effort, but the commitment to stay with it, staying down. But look how he gets himself up strong. He's got a great arm, worked hard. Good that, he's been one of these players that's benefited from playing state league. He's with the Korean Baseball Club. They've given him the opportunity. He's worked hard. But his demeanour is so good. And he's always, you can't take away a smile from a kid's face when he's out there. And he certainly has one of the biggest ones that's out there.
Braden Moyle. Maybe if he does too well here, Dad might give him a lift home.
Yeah.
Braden Moyle playing for the Biscuits. His dad is the manager of the Durham Bulls tonight.
And there's one of those moments, a father-son moment. Lee's wearing a cast on his left hand where he got hit. He decided to play a game with Lee at second base and Braden at shortstop, and to end the game, they rolled the double play. And, it was... it's a good little moment. You've seen the video of it, but it's one of those moments as a parent of a player.
Yep.
You ever get a chance to play in a team with your son or your daughter in that capacity is a big tick, because Lee said, yep, I can quit now. And then he got hit on the hand, so he's had to stop playing.
Chin's bang, straight back at the pitcher, and with a bit of working by Choi there, gets bang, bang, double play to end the assault from the Biscuits. The Bulls will go and get the bats, and we'll take a quick break. We'll be back for more right after this.
See the ball played up the middle. Good flip by Choi. Double play.
Welcome back to Empire Ballpark here in the West. Paul Morgan's my name. Simon Ison's joining me on the broadcast this evening. New pitcher coming in who is his greatest influence has been Simon Ison's as well, with Connor Chihab.
Kind of weird, but yeah, kind of funny as well. Connor Chihab. I mean, there's lots of things to say about this young man, but the first thing you see is a 91-mile-an-hour fastball. He is a physical specimen for a pitcher, a very tall, strong, athletic young man. And he rolls that arm over effortlessly around the 89 to 90 mark. We saw in his warm-ups he was certainly pounding the zone with a fastball. And he's a young kid who needs to find his own mental space into the game, but his body is built for baseball. Yep. He's athletic, he's strong. Again, it's an effortless 90, and a better coach can always teach this young man something else. It's hard. You know, the game of baseball is not hard. Look at the power that's just generated from this, and what's not given justice is the man is 6'5", and a big strong boy.
This is Owen Pilcher.
We mentioned before that Warwick was sitting there looking at, around the zone, painting at 91 away.
Yep.
Connor has the ability to do that on a regular basis. He has, let's say, the ability to do it, but he's doing it infrequently at the moment.
Yep.
He certainly should be given an opportunity to progress his baseball in the highest level possible.
Chihab pitches, and so from here, if he can touch 90-ish, 92, and
he can hit 92 comfortably.
So he's about 17 years old at the moment. How hard is the jump from 92 to 96?
Look, I wouldn't know. Let's be brutally honest, I would not know. But for the right mechanical coach and approach to the game, I think you can tap into it. And maybe Connor's comment before, or his comment that he's got there about me being an influence on it. My influence on Connor has been in a mental approach to the game to try and keep him invested into the game, because it's tough. Now, it's tough for this young man because, as you can see, he can paint away with 92 miles an hour easily, but there's no consistency about that. So trying to get him mentally into a space is, good fun.
Yep.
It's one of the greatest challenges I think I've enjoyed in baseball. I really like the kid. But I know the talent's boiled in there, and a better coach. And again, you look at the Mark Pettits of the world, who would, when they grab a hold of him, can tweak the mechanics, can tweak the combination of his mental approach to the game. The opportunities are endless for him, but he needs to discover the next step.
Drawing a walk is Owen Pilcher. Bring Ben Bird up to the plate.
Connor had his first opportunity to play state baseball last year. He, by his own admission, said, "I would be the last person that you picked," and he held his own. He did what he needed to do. He had a limited opportunity, and got himself a national championship from it. But he got a taste.
Yep.
And anybody who can throw the ball over 90 miles an hour, which is just the baseline for professional scouts nowadays, has been a blessing for him. So he knows what he wants to do. He's got to figure out how to do it, what the steps he needs to take to get better for the next.
Wild pitch sends the runners to second and third. You see there, 90 mile an hour, that one. Connor Chihab plays
South Perth Baseball Club.
South Perth. Tim Kennelly's his favourite player. Models himself off of Rolders Chapman.
From the right side.
Well, Bull Durham's his favourite movie, which is good. There's Conor Lowry out having a chat to him. Conor Lowry's probably a good, because what's Conor, mid to late 20s?
Yes.
Yeah, it's probably.
He's a great influence. He's a great influence to these young guys. Again, this is an opportunity where the kids get to see a different light, where they Connor doesn't know them all that well, so he's figuring his way out what they're like and understanding the way that Mark's saying and under Arnie's tutelage as well. But that's a simple conversation about relaxing, seeing the opportunity, because when you saw him doing his warm-ups, he was fine. So this is a golden opportunity for him to grow again, because the arm's there. There is no question. He has to find a consistency around the zone.
Connor Chihab. That's Ben Bird. 91 gets past Davies and coming home to score for the Durham Bulls. Good heads up running. And I guess this is the risk a little, Simon, when you throw hard. And
see, unlike the opportunity here is better for these guys, and Mark said this is somewhat of an elevation of a state tournament in a better environment. The only thing that's not the positive is they get to experience more.
Yep.
When you're in a state, in a national tournament, you have to be managed in your games. There's certain pitch counts you have to do. So Connor would certainly be put into situations where we had control about the way he pitched.
Yep.
Now, we have control about the way players pitch in that we know a situation, we get him prepared mentally. And guess what? That's what the big leagues and that's what professional baseball's all about. You don't necessarily get to feel your way through the game. You're there to perform a certain task, so you've got to actually mentally prepare for it, and your coaches have got to mentally get you ready for it as well.
Caitlin in for at bat against.
She's faced Connor a few times. Through the high performance, she knows what to expect.
On he goes. Throws a little high from Davies and not quite strong enough. So where would, from the coaches, if they review the film now, that like there's a lot of, I mean, the walks, there's 3 errors on the board as well. Like, I mean, where would you start? If I don't know if they're going to review the game or not tomorrow, but if assuming they did, is that one gets away? I mean, and that's a great example. Like, what would you sort of say that this is? With a runner on third, maybe don't throw that pitch, or would you sort of
look? There's lots of ways you can approach it. What you look at from probably, let's say, from my experience as a coaching there, I would start to look at a bit of the mechanics. So the first thing I'd go back to is, how did you prepare down in the bullpen to when you came out? Because when you came out and you were warming up, you were throwing really well.
Yep.
So what stopped in between there? So again, the opportunity to make adjustments is something I want to see. Again, if this was a state tournament, he'd probably be taken off the field, but he's got a chance to make these adjustments as he goes along. But what happened between from the bullpen to the mound to when he started, when we put a batter in that spot, what's changed?
Yep.
And address that with him.
Okay,
so this
walk.
So that's the way I would approach Connor. And then again, this is the conversation that Peter's going to have with him. In fact, it's his second visit, so he's going to, I would say,
there's no one in the pen warming up, so that's the only hope he's got. But anyway, regardless, someone's going.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Yeah, we're going to get a bit of instant relief from Jackson Limpus from the outfield.
From the outfield to the mound.
Yeah, it's hard for coaches because they're going to look at this. Yes, they're going to review this.
Yep.
As Mark said, we saw a short innings where Flynn McGann came out, pounded the strike zone at 88.
Yep.
We saw Daniel Melancelli, he threw 2 solid innings. Now, albeit not hard, but he threw strikes. The ball was put in play. The fielders weren't sitting back on their haunches. So their game gets to get better because they're involved more. So there's no there's no opportunity for physical mistakes. There's no opportunity for mental mistakes as well because they're involved. They're the things you want to take away as a positive, but they're the things that the coaches are going to say tick, tick, tick. But what happened here?
Yep.
There'll be a lot of questioning of players.
Yep.
The players will get questioned about their performance, both teams, and so they should be.
Yep.
Some players have stood up well. You know, we've seen 2 hits from Daniel Carter. We've seen a lots of good, relatively good at bats, but there hasn't been too many shining moments. I mean, there's little things over here, the big tick, Ben Bird backing up at third base.
Yep.
This is a left fielder who has read the play situation, but that's fundamental baseball.
Yep.
So these are the things that we want these kids to learn, so it becomes second nature for when they go away to a tournament, that the coaches who are looking at you, the college scouts that are looking at you, want you to see where your baseball brain is at.
Yep.
And you know where to be. The teaching and the coaching that comes after that is how to change to make you better. But you've got to have a core foundation to start.
Focus, Jackson Limpus, who is also part of the South Perth Baseball Club. Bill Sheriff is his favourite Heat player, Yankees fan.
Excellent club ball coach for South Perth. Brett Walters, a former professional. And even Ken Fitzgibbons is down there as well. So, you know, a lot of these kids are exposed to a lot of good talent as well.
Cameron Landy up to swing against Jackson Limpus. Limpus throws, and that one's high and missing. So it's Cameron Landy. The 2-0 count was Limpus, the lefty, kicks and delivers. It's fouled off into the night sky.
The quietness in the air is me trying to ascertain who the centre fielder is. To replace Jackson. I wouldn't say it's Ry Harrison, just out of as a guess. I could be wrong.
I reckon if we ask nicely, the centre field camera, one of the cameras might be able to get the number in the centre field.
Yeah, we're trying to get the number of that centre fielder.
The magic of television.
Oh, there he is.
Number 11. I think.
Number 11. I thought I saw a glance at.
Could be Aidan Brown.
Yeah, it's a good chance it's Aidan Brown. So Aidan was the right fielder.
That means the right fielder.
That means Sam Shepherd has gone to from shortstop to right field, and that looks like.
Does it look like Jay Reynolds maybe in left field?
No, that's Daniel Carter in left field.
Oh, yeah, Daniel Carter's in left. So
shortstop is changed. Shepherd's in right field.
Okay, so Shepherd's in right field, so your shortstop has changed. So shortstop is shortstop's Braden Moyle.
Braden Moyle at shortstop, so he's come in from the DH.
Dylan Bajowski's still your third baseman. Oh, yeah, see, centre field camera, man.
Hey, look at that.
That is Showscreens at its finest. The best in the business.
I did say to Christian before, this is, and Mark said this. These kids can go back and look at this, and you mentioned that you had comments from the US of people watching the game.
Yep.
This is great to see. It's good for the kids because this doesn't happen often, and you only get it usually at nationals.
But I suppose the more that they're exposed to themselves on, I was going to say videotape, that's not really, that's a bit of a redundant term, but it's the more they're exposed to them, you know, like they can, you know, start to package, you know, this is, I guess, what the whole showcase is for as well. They can start packaging themselves up, making good plays, start making a hype video, so to speak, of themselves. And I think there's a lot of play. I mean, I remember years ago, like the Perth thing on social media used to get sent so many, particularly out of South America, so many players hype tapes. That one hits the foot by the look of it of Luden Timara. But
looks like, ow, that's right on the top of the left foot. Yeah, look, it's a part of the game. Video coverage is part of the game. Feed coverage, your own personals, your makeups, your hype tapes. I mean, we see it in Major League in basketball and NFL, don't we? Probably not so much hype tapes in baseball because it's an interesting metrics game.
Remember, it was a couple of years ago, was it Roberto Garcia who came over? He had his own rap song made for his
top velocity Roberto Garcia. Yeah. So yeah, he had his own song made, and he's certainly Showtime Velocity, Top Velocity, who's now part of an organisation whose sole purpose is increasing velocity of players and the skill set, and it's using a lot of that type of technology that you're going to the driveline, which is a massive part of conversation amongst baseball players now. So it's not to say, and Mark mentioned it before, Rapsodo has been the technology that we calculate spin rates and all sorts of things. So we have that technology here. We are using it now. It's up to the coaches to learn how to use those metrics and turn these players and to teach them how to look at spin rates and effectiveness of pitches. And the same thing for hitters. Exit velocity is the tick box. Couple all of that with an intensity to play the game of baseball and a desire to push as hard as you can is what clubs, colleges and scouts, because they're looking for the athlete as well as the player. And this is, again, tick to Dean White and Lockie Dale and all of the showcase scenarios. When this was brought up a long time ago with Andy Kyle, I'll be the first person to say I was kind of sceptical. You see a great pitch by Jackson Limbers. So he gets pulled for a long foul and then sort of backs it up with a nice little curveball.
That's a beautiful curveball. Yeah, curveball of the night.
Yeah. But I want to say I was sceptical, but I was curious as to see how this would work out, and hence I turned up to training to see a bunch of young guys given an opportunity and shown the intensity, but also a bunch of coaches that were just as intense in a positive manner to want to pass on the information.
You were at the national champs last year. I mean, we'll focus as we've got Jacob Santich in the box for the Durham Bulls. I mean, your 2 or 3 positive, like how this is, different to the Nationals in a positive way.
The positives is there's no downtime. Positives for me, there was because it was game time every day. Your approach to learning the game of baseball was limited to that of a lot of game learn. You got taught after, so you didn't get a chance to learn as much as you got a chance to play. So the positives, you played, but the positive,
it's hit high and deep, but coming in to make the catch is Daniel Carter in the inning. And we'll take a quick time. We'll pick that up after this because we'll take a quick time out because I'm sure we've got some interviews to go through. But quick time out, back shortly.
I'm with the Hot Rods manager, Kurt Russell. Talk us through the performance just then.
Wasn't too bad today. Offensively, we had a pretty good approach. would have been better if we kind of got the ball over the plate a little bit more, walked a couple less guys, maybe would have kept a couple of runs off. But all in all, first crack out there, I think we did all right.
We're expecting a tied ball game. It shows pretty strong talent here in WA.
Yeah, it was always going to be close. I was always expecting probably 1-2 run ball game, but to come out tied, a little bit disappointing. We had opportunities and we didn't take them, but it is what it is. We'll take the time. We'll move into tomorrow.
Any players that stand out that absolutely surprised you?
Not necessarily a surprise, but Michael de Gasper's had a day today. Really good out in centre field, put a couple good swings on the baseball. Chucked him out there with a load of bases straight out of the field. He did a really good job to get out of the inning and then get into that last inning without giving up a run to keep the game tied. So, yeah, good day for the kid.
And where does a showcase like this take the boys in the future?
Well, it's a good opportunity. Generally speaking, we take 16 kids for 16s, 16s for 18s, and we go away to nationals. We've got 60 kids here, so it's an exposure for a lot more kids that they wouldn't normally get. So it's an opportunity. Now they're going to get broadcasted in front of scouts and a few other people around the world. So there's a lot of names that wouldn't normally get seen that'll get seen today. So it's a really good opportunity for them.
And what are you expecting over the next 2 days to come?
Oh, plenty to come. There's still plenty of arms in the shed, so we've both got a bit of firepower to come. Definitely going to be a lot more hits over the next 2 days, that's for sure. The pitchers will get the ball over the plate and we'll get some better baseball out there, for sure.
We're excited to see what's to come. Thank you so much and best of luck.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Welcome back to Empire Ballpark. Good to hear Kurt Russell then. So, Durham Bulls, the Biscuits go against 5-5 here, bottom of the fifth, 7-inning game. Montgomery Biscuits.
And Daniel Melancelli back on the mound again, throwing strikes is what you want to see. Good row there, good low pitch, good easy feeding. I was just organising an interview for next for the one of the, I guess, the unsung heroes of the showcase is the administrator, Andrew Murray, who's responsible for a lot of the data that we're working with, a lot of the background information that's going on. So at the bottom of the innings, Andrew's going to come in and have a quick chat to you about his experience with the showcase.
Sounds good. Let's head up the chute, coming into the catch is that 70s show owns Owen Pilcher.
Good clear signals. Yeah, didn't quite get his body in position in time, but the end result is ultimately we catch the ball.
Josh Davies coming into bat.
In reflection of what you mentioned before, as I said, the opportunity to where this showcase is enjoyable for me is the opportunity to learn and to play. Now, from something from a state tournament level that from a particularly junior level, the camaraderie is unique. You are forced into living situations with guys that you don't, to be honest, you won't be living with in a scenario, but you learn so much about each other and you develop this. We see Daniel Melancelli being an absolute shining light of this situation. So 3 solid innings from Daniel so far. Do the job, throw strikes, get the job done. An outstanding job so far. The one thing that I've really, what I've liked so far is these kids really enjoy each other's company all around. Now that's a credit to them wanting to be here and the inclusiveness that the coaches have given them, the ability, and Mark said it before, you know when to and who to talk to. So the coaching staff tends to know pretty much everybody and how they're treated. And, whilst we're not fitting everybody into a mould, everybody is treated as an individual but allowed to shine in their own little way.
Absolutely.
Now, we've got Dean White in the room. It doesn't appear to be Andrew Murray, who seems to run away scared. Is that Dean's nodding his head? So I guess I'll hand over my mic, which is most grateful for a lot of people, probably to Dean, about the administration of the showcase.
Get Dean White on in a moment as Jackson Limpus continues his work. Dean White joins us now, and of course, former Perth Heater, former Atlanta Braves farmhand, owner of Diamond Fitness, and architect of the showcase. It's gone really well. I mean, you'd have to be pretty stoked with it.
Mate, it has. It's been plenty of work, but a huge opportunity with obviously the National Youth Champs not being able to go ahead with COVID.
Yep.
It's something that Lockie, Dale, and I have spoken about as a potential maybe precursor to or part of the trial process for the NYCs. So yeah, it's really nice to actually have a chance and to put it all together and try and run a legitimate spring training type program for these kids to experience before they hopefully have a chance themselves.
Do you see this in the future we're assuming that the national champs are back on next year. Do you see this as then, the two teams of the 16s, the two teams of the 18s, essentially? Do you see this as the kind of crescendo tournament to then select the state teams from here? Is that the way that you'd like to see this sort of happen moving forward?
Look, I don't necessarily have an opinion on how it should work going forward. I think the program itself has worked, and if there was, if they'd like us to be involved to help make it all happen again, or a modified version to fall in line with a National Youth Championships, then we'd love to be part of it.
Now, there's Daniel Choi will lead things off here for the Bulls as first pitch offering is fouled off. Now, you are the owner of Diamond Fitness, great facility in Osborne Park, shortly to be opened here at the ballpark. I wanted to talk about, for you, and we had Warwick Sorpold in before. I mean, you're mid-30s guy, you spent your time at Atlanta, and you would have probably frothed the opportunity of having a showcase like this when you were coming up. But how is it now, I guess, from a professionalism point of view, when, you own, I know you own Diamond Fitness, but now that you have a gym on site, and I guess you would assume that strength and conditioning is taken a lot seriously in 2020 than it probably was in 2005 or whenever it may well have been. How important is that part of the game, though, that you think Australians potentially had missed in baseball?
Look, I think all of it is really important. So strength and conditioning is an important piece of the athletic development of these players, as is their mental skill development to deal with the adversity and just getting out there and being able to grind out day after day. I mean, these kids are tired. They've been out there since the 4th of January from 7:30 in the morning till 4:30 in the afternoon. So this is a great test for them, and the idea is to try and replicate what they're going to have to experience should they go away, and replicate it on many of my own experiences from being unprepared going away from my first spring training.
Yep. I'll come back to that because I know we've spoken about it before, but when you first moved or you first headed over to the States, you must have had in some ways a kind of an idea, and then probably what actually happened was two very different things.
Well, I thought I had a good idea, and I'd visited the US before, I'd been to Atlanta before, I was a Braves fan, I thought I had it all pretty well dialed in. And I rolled in with all the other international players who all spoke Spanish except for me. I had to organise a whole bunch of stuff myself, and it was just a massive learning curve for me. And so you take all the off-field stuff that you had to figure out and try and grow up in a real hurry.
Yep.
I just wasn't ready for that side of things. And then you try and mix in the most elite baseball competition you've ever had before.
Yep.
It's a real challenge. And so hopefully the program's been able to give these kids a chance to really understand what it's like, and they've really embraced it. It's been awesome, and we've had some huge efforts from all the coaching staff, led by Mark Pettit, who's been just absolutely phenomenal, and Corchi and the rest of the crew. Great support with from Baseball WA with Lockie just getting behind the whole thing, and then right down to our our admin team of Andrew Murray and Keely Embry and Jada and a whole bunch of other people that have really made it all work. So it's been a big task.
I want to say, how much do the kids of you or the younger, particularly probably more these guys who are slightly closer? How much are you? Let's just, for argument's sake, say if Dylan Bajarski gets signed. How much are you talking about them of you need to get these things right now? Because if you go over to the US, I mean, your leash is relatively short. They're not going to, a major league organisation is not necessarily going to hang around for 3 months to worry about you being homesick, to worry about you being this, to worry about, I mean, are these the conversations that you're having now with these guys?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're trying to bring, voices in that they may not have heard before that are very experienced in the message they're providing. So, one of the greatest people that we had to chat to with the group was Bob Ossie.
Yep.
And he's, a very established business development professional that speaks to massive, 5,000-10,000 people audiences on, how to perform at your highest level in business.
Yep.
That also played at the University of Oregon and was one of the first imports, in Perth from a baseball perspective. And so he just was awesome. And you could have heard a pin drop when he spoke.
So there's a little bit of heads up running there from Jeff Kerr, who's found himself on third base as he... and reviewing the tapes the next day, we were talking about this with Simon before. I mean, what do you expect, the good, the bad and the ugly? I mean, how much is sort of spent percentage-wise on positive feedback? How much is sort of spent on or is it all positively constructive feedback? How much or is it just depending on the psych evaluation you've had on the players, is that dependent on the level of whether you're blunt or slightly softer or...
Yeah, well, we've done personality profiles on all the players, and that we use that as a guide on how to deliver the information to each individual.
Yep.
So that's been really useful. But ultimately, we realise that it's a time for learning, and so it's not about whether it's positive or negative. It's about just working hard to be better every single day.
Yep.
So the focus is not on did you do it right, did you do it wrong, is, are we better today than we were yesterday?
Yep.
And as long as we keep doing that, then we know that everyone is moving in the right direction at the speed that they can, that they're capable of at this time. And that's the most important part.
Old Pilcher into bat for the Bulls. He's off down to the first base, but talk to me about the Rays with this. I mean, when you first approached the Rays, you talked to them and said you want to do the showcase. I mean, their response was really positive about it. And how do you potentially see this concept maybe rolling out, in Australia with, say, Adelaide, who've got a fair Phillies organisation, Phillies affiliation. Do you see, I mean, how much interaction you've had with the other state organisations as well to sort of say, hey, this could be something that we might do as well?
Look, we haven't really spoken to the states at all, mostly just because we've been trying to make sure we've got our own ship taken care of here. Yep. So we're just trying to get things organised as best we can. Look, nothing would make me happier than to see, two of these teams going over to Adelaide to go play a 4-game series starting on Saturday.
Yep.
That would be awesome. And then have 2 of their teams come here and get that, get the ABL experience mixed in while we're at it. I think that would be awesome.